Tradoon. Tradoon.
Ontogeny.
Girder.
Glue is cheap.
I'm Bill Johnson. Around here, they just call me Dad. I've been trying to read, but I just can't seem to do it. Thanksgiving Day. We Johnsons had a Thanksgiving, the best we've ever had. And I can't help thinking that what made it better was a real feeling of thankfulness. And that's odd, too, when you consider the shape things were in when I got home from work yesterday. My kids, Dick and Tommy and Susan, were all home from school. And of course, Mother and the baby were there. His kids will. Mine were living tomorrow right along with today, looking forward to Thanksgiving. And like most men, I'm glad it was Mother instead of me who had to break the news to them.
Tomorrow's Thanksgiving.
Turkey and dressing and pie and cake.
And fruit salad and whipped cream and can hardly wait. Me too.
Well, you know, children, we've had a lot of expenses this month, and, well, your father and I thought that... Well, the truth of the matter is, there just won't be any turkey this year.
No turkey for Thanksgiving?
Oh, I'm going to make a pumpkin pie. We'll have plenty to eat, but, well, we'll just have to get along without turkey.
Mom, you don't mean it. It won't be Thanksgiving at all.
Even the pilgrims had a feast. After all, isn't that what Thanksgiving's for? I don't think it's fair.
And it was right there that I came in, right in the thick of it. Hello, everybody.
Hi,
Oh, Mother, Dick, Susan. Well, what's been going on around here? What's the matter with everybody, anyway?
Mom says we're not going to have any Thanksgiving. No turkey, no good thing.
A fat lot we're gonna have to be thankful for.
Oh, I don't think you kids really mean that.
We do too. We've always had turkey for Thanksgiving.
Yes, and everybody else in the block's gonna have it this year, as always.
Yes, we've always had turkey, just as a lot of Americans have had it, and we'll keep on having it. Turkey on Thanksgiving's a great American tradition. But what you kids are saying makes it sound as if the turkey's the only thing we had to be thankful for.
Well, gee whiz, no, Dad. It's not that at all.
Oh, I know, Dick. With turkey, it's easy to lose sight of what Thanksgiving really means.
Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs.
Thanksgiving really means.
Dinosaurs.
We now recognize that birds are dinosaurs. Birds are dinosaurs. Birds are dinosaurs.
Jack Horner told us that birds are dinosaurs. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Paleontologizing. It's good to be back. It feels like months. I know it's only been 2 days, but I apologize for not being able to stream over the past 2 days. I went up to go visit family, and there was just too much going on. It just did not fit into the schedule. But, drove up to go see my mom, and her sisters, and my brother, and his wife, and, yeah. Anyway, it was a good couple of days. But man, did I miss this too. Anyway, I hope those of you who celebrate Thanksgiving had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And those of you who didn't had an even better Thanksgiving. Or lack thereof. Whatever. It's good to have you here. Welcome back to Paleontologizing. And we're going to have a fun stream today. We're going to be kind of putting a neat little bow on our Birds Are Dinosaurs theme from the past week. And, yeah, getting ready to talk about some new dinosaur discoveries, which hopefully will be announced soon. I've got some inside scoop on some interesting stuff, so maybe we'll get to that later if we've got time today. But anyway, if any of you are here the very first time, then welcome to Paleontologizing. Normally I'd press this button and we'd have a view of my office, but I've already started packing up some of my cameras and stuff. I'm gonna be moving in a couple weeks. And, yeah, some of this stuff is gonna have to go sooner rather than later. So I just didn't bother to put the camera back up. I took it down in order to, I was hoping to be able to stream yesterday and the day before. So I took it with me when I went to go visit my mom, and it's just such a hassle to put back up. I'm also not sure if the camera is gonna work anymore, because the lens popped off and it... Oh boy. Webcams. Anywho. So we've just got the DSLR facing in this direction for today. Anyway, welcome to Paleontologizing. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, not an IT specialist. Although I make do here on stream, usually 5 days a week, is when I talk about fossil science here on Twitch. As a fossil scientist myself, as a paleontologist, I studied dinosaurs in particular. Most paleontologists study other creatures. I study dinosaurs. I publish on dinosaurs in the scientific literature. I dig up dinosaurs during the summers. Some of you caught those live streams this summer from Utah and Wyoming. We were digging up at least 3 new species of dinosaur. And I streamed whenever I could this summer. It was a ton of fun. Check out the YouTube page if you haven't seen those yet, if you're new around here. Yeah, anyway. As a dinosaur paleontologist, I'm passionate about dinosaurs, and I'm passionate about sharing fossil science with you. With you. That's what this is all about. So stick around if you've got any questions about dinosaurs in particular, because that's what I study. We're going to be talking about how birds, including your Thanksgiving turkey, or whatever other bird you might have in your house for whatever reason, that is literally a dinosaur. No joke, we'll be talking about why. Or if you've got questions about broader topics, about the history of life on Earth, about extinction and evolution and the fossil record and how we're able to figure all this stuff out, don't be shy about those questions. That's what this stream is for. That's why I am here, is to try and do my duty as a scientist, to reach out to the public and talk to folks, you know? It's because of public interest in fossils that I'm able to do my work. Paleontology is a severely underfunded science. We do not get a lot of government funding or anything like that. So most of what we're able to do is because the public is interested in it. And so we've often got to go out hat in hand and say, hey, please fund our work and we'll bring you new dinosaurs. That's what I'm doing here on Twitch. Believe it or not, this is my full-time job. This is how I make my living. So, yeah, if you've got an Amazon Prime sub that you've not used yet, or a few gift subs in your pocket jangling around, I'd certainly appreciate them, especially since we're way below our goal for this week. Might have to do a stream tomorrow, too, to try and make up for that. But, yeah. Dr. Terra says, are we talking about new dinosaurs? The gremlin in the room? Shh, Dr. Terra, shh. Not after midnight.
Beginning of this strange dinosaur's life.
Seatown Striker, 3 months of support. I appreciate that very much, Seatown Striker. Thank you. For those 3 Prime subs over the past 3 months. I appreciate that, Seatown. Thank you for your ongoing support of this channel and of me and of Science Outreach here on Twitch. It means a lot. It really does. Yoshia says, is an ornithologist the same as a paleontologist? No. Ornithologists study birds. Paleontologists study fossils. Any kinds of fossils. But a paleo-ornithologist, you'll never guess what they study. And Golganak, thank you, Golganak, for gifting Arle. I do appreciate that. I really do, Golganak. Thank you. Although Arle should be using his Prime sub. That's my dad, everyone. Arle. Thank you, Golganak. I appreciate you. I don't know. Maybe Arle gave his Prime sub to XTC or Ninja or somebody like that. Is Ninja still on Twitch? I don't even know. Whatever. Who cares? My dad giving his sub to Pokimane. Hello?
It's the dinosaur man!
Okay.
Michael C., thank you for the 2 months of support. I appreciate that very much. Thank you for keeping me here on the air. That is lovely. It really is. Excellent stuff. And Ninja is, in fact, on Twitch, says Nana Banana Nana Nana. Good to know. Well. But yeah. Sketchwin says, a century ago, sentence about funding would be like, please fund our fancy dinners taking place in the half-sculpted dinosaur. Sketchwin, we're going to be doing... Oh, man. You know about this, right, Sketchwin? You know about our big New Year's stream that we're going to do? I hope you do sketch one. If you don't, let me know and I'll tell you. But yeah. Whoa, parental support, just like good old Maya Sora, Chris TS. Feeding the nestlings in the nest. Yeah. And the new Jurassic World Evolution. That's an L. Okay, DLC? Dr. Tara, we can talk about that. I might do a special stream tomorrow about that, actually. A special Saturday stream covering that. I've just now decided that's going to take place. We're going to have a special Saturday stream covering the new dinosaurs and Jurassic World Evolution. What do they have? It was Gigantoraptor, Concavenator, Tarbosaurus, and Utahraptor, I believe. Always with the theropods. I know they're the most diverse group of dinosaurs, but yeah, they all looked pretty good, except the Tarbosaurus was a little meh. Gigantoraptor, okay. But man, the other two, the Concavenator and the Utahraptor, well, they looked excellent. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. Yeah. And game time. I can't guarantee I'll be playing the game, but we'll be talking about it. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. 3 good ones and a Tarbosaurus. I mean, it's still a passing grade, and we're grading on a curve here, Dr. Tara. It is a video game, so yeah. Yeah. Had several murders of crows at the airfield I work at. That's tragic, Seatown Striker. Who's killing those crows? I'm kidding. They always show up in the morning at my work. Must be like 20 or 30 of them. Crows are very cool animals. Very intelligent. And actually, I've got a book to recommend you if you're interested in crows and in their social behavior and in their relationship to us as human beings and kind of what it all means in the grand scheme of things. The book is... Where did I put that? My bookshelf is a mess right now because I'm getting ready to move. And I haven't really had time to reorganize things. But the book is called Crow Planet by Leanda Lynn Haupt. One of the most beautiful books I've ever read. I'll just show you a picture since I can't find the actual book. Crow Planet by Leanda Lynn Haupt. Excellent stuff. Oh, here's the author with a starling on her head. But yeah, Crow Planet by Leanda Lynn Haupt. She's got another book called Mozart's Starling that I really need to finish reading. It's really good, but I've just been so busy with other books. But yeah, really, really excellent book. It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. Essential wisdom from the urban wilderness. It's kind of an exploration of kind of the divide or lack thereof between nature and humanity, between natural environments and human-built environments, how they bleed together, the creatures that thrive in both, creatures like crows. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Really, really excellent nature writing. I can't recommend it highly enough. Yeah. And Claire Burr says, Danny, I made you something. Here are 3 versions. You can email them too if you like. What is this, Claire Burr? Claire, this is lovely. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Oh, that's fantastic. And hang on a minute. Charlie's Dragon coming in here with 29 months of subscribing.
Talking of birds being dinosaurs.
Yeah?
Breakthrough on the Dino Chicken Project. Bonnie Tales. Check Jack Horner's Twitter.
Really, really, Charlie's Dragon? Holy cow. Wait, what? They've been working on this for like 15 years. Charlie's Dragon. Oh man, we'll have to check that out in a minute. But Claire Burr, thank you, thank you. By the way, Charlie's Dragon, thank you for the 29 months. That's like almost a whole year right there. Thank you. That's beautiful. Yeah, Danny, as a Simpsons character, it does look kind of Simpsons-ish, doesn't it? Wow, I need a haircut, don't I? Can I... Let's see... Are they open tomorrow? Can I go get a haircut tomorrow? Saturday. Okay, yeah. Yeah. I might go get a haircut tomorrow. Because it's telling me I probably need one. Thank you, Claire. Extraordinary. Simpsonification of Danny? Aren't the Simpsons usually yellow? But maybe there's more versions. Let me scroll up to what Claire had posted. These look identical. The first two are identical, I think. Oh, nope. Never mind. I clicked the wrong one. There we go. What is this? Oh, boy. That is lovely, Claire. We've got an angry goose right here, or a duck. A gigantic one. Standing on a hillside. With all these headstones here, these must be his victims. Think it's more Futurama than Simpsons? I would agree, Craigsy, yeah. Not super familiar with Futurama, but oh, I like this one too, Claire. Out in the Badlands, good stuff. Claire, I am flattered. You know the one I think I like the best? Is this one. But they're all good. They're all good. You even got my necklace in there. And the epaulets on my This is pretty exquisite, Claire. This is pretty exquisite. Thank you, Claire Burr. Can we get a shout out for Claire Burr, who streams here on Twitch at different times? Claire, when's the next time you're going to be streaming so people can tune in and watch you? Thank you so much, Claire. It really, that warms my heart. And I will add this right now to my folder of fan art, etc. I would like to be able to make a cold open video incorporating all of these in the future. Paleo suspect. I like it. Oh, Claire, this is great. I appreciate that more than you know, Claire. Holy moly. Thank you, thank you. I'm touched. I'm touched. Do you mind if I... Do you mind if I share that, Claire? On the old Twitter? Before I finally make my leave from that site? It really seems to be going downhill. Twitter is... It's a slow-burning tire fire, that site. Yeah. I used Barry the Scientist as a template. Good, good, I tried. And Gabriel the Akelibator says Futurama and Simpsons are really just the same style. Yeah, I mean, both Matt Groening created, aren't they? Just given different details, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it's good stuff. Don't you mean X? I don't, Patrick Crusader. One is a letter of the alphabet, and the other is a website that everyone knows. Twitter.com. So, yeah. Yeah, I used to really like Twitter. The whole thing seems to be imploding, though. The only reason I'm still on is because colleagues like Jim Kirkland are on. Yeah. Give me a second here. And let's upload this bad boy. Ah, good stuff. Good stuff. Excellent. And I emailed them to you as well. Thank you, Claire. If they are higher res, then I'll download them there before I put them into the cold open video. I don't know how long that'll take. It could be months. But it's up here. Once I get enough pieces of artwork like that, and once I find a good enough video to exploit, the stars will align, and we will have a new cold open video with all that art. Good stuff. Anyway, there was a question up here earlier that I didn't have a chance to get to. It was from El Trihard Nob. Danny, what are your thoughts on governments leaving scientific progress in the hands of the private sector? Oh boy, I've talked about this before. Do you think it is helpful for scientific progress, or does it do more harm than good? It definitely does more harm than good. Because when scientific funding is left in the hands of the private sector, since it's private, it is beholden to the private profit margin in a way that it isn't when it's government funded. I've said this many times before, and I'll say it again. Nothing huge or tremendous or worthwhile was ever done with private funding. It just doesn't happen. Everything in history that has ever been a monumental advance, everything that's ever broken new ground in a real way, you know, from the building of the pyramids to the moon landings, from the development of COVID vaccines to the landings at Normandy. Everything huge and worthwhile that's ever happened in the history of humanity has happened through government funding. The private sector just is not up to the task. They just can't handle it. Because, you know, it's like the profit margin is, you know, it's like the mafia coming in there, being like, oh, you know, some nice research you got there, you know. It'd be a shame if something happened to it, you know. If there were to be an unfortunate accident, you know. You got to make sure you kick up. You got that profit margin, you know. You got to maintain it. You can't get anything done. You can never have truly groundbreaking discoveries when you have, you know, profit seekers breathing down your neck the whole time. It just doesn't work. Ask any scientist. You know, it's extraordinarily naive to argue otherwise. Basically, every huge advancement that's ever been made in science has happened because somebody took a leap. They took a risk, you know? When you've got the profit margin there, it disincentivizes risk-taking, you know? This is why every movie is a sequel nowadays, or it's built on some sort of, like, prior IP, intellectual property, you know? It's because nobody's willing to take a risk on a new idea. There will never again, I think, be a new Star Wars or something like that, you know? Because movie studios are just in tight competition with one another, and nobody's willing to take a risk on something that's untried, you know? That, and there's a lot of other IPs to exploit. But anyway, yeah. Trixmont says SpaceX is trying? You're kidding, right, Trixmont? SpaceX is a government enterprise. Like, I don't know how much of it's probably 95% of their funding is from government contracts, along with everything else that Elon Musk does. Pretty much. It's That's government money that's funding it, you know? It could be SpaceX, or it could be, you know, people supplying munitions or uniforms during the Civil War. That's how you, as a capitalist, that's how you make tremendous profits, is like, you know, taking that money from the government. From the government. Yeah. Anyway. The biggest contractor for the Department of Defense is Elon Musk. There you go, Todd in Minnesota. There you go. Yeah. Todd in Minnesota says, if private corporate lobbyists pay the politicians, and the politicians commission the studies, are they really public studies? What studies are you talking about, Todd in Minnesota? I mean, are you talking about political polling? Because there's a lot of problems with that kind of thing, for sure. Yeah. Anyway. And yeah, Alex Vixen's got the facts there. Yeah. Anyway. It's good to have everybody here. Shoot, let me scroll up to the top. Let me just say hello to some people who are already here, and we'll get started with our theropod bird stuff. Gabriel, the Achillibator, Seatown Striker, Claire Bird, Patrick Crusader. I think I already said hello to all of you, but welcome back. It's good to have you here. Yeah. Alright, Athalium says this song is kind of a bop. It was several songs ago. Alright, I'm not sure what it was. Glad you're enjoying the music. Oh, it's me, Kay. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Kodali 2010. Hello, hello. The Lenina. How are you doing, Lenina? Rose Sand. How are you doing, Rosand? Alex, Vixen, hello. Hello, Golganek, welcome back. Always lovely to see you, Golganek. I know I say that every time, but it's because it's true, Golganek. Glad you're back. Reese Degu, how are you doing? Welcome. Welcome, Charlie's Dragon, hello. Hello. Craig C, how are you doing? Yoshia, hello. Hello. Scrolling. Tommy Plodicus. Great Thanksgiving post, though. Yeah, Tommy Plodicus, thank you. By the way, yeah, shoot, that, I'm glad that can still get some... Still get a little bit of attention here. Yeah, I posted this. My, Your Turkey is a Dinosaur infographic. And not too shabby, you know? 187 retweets, 578 likes, 40 bookmarks. Wow. Not too shabby. You can download that yourself using the turkey command here in chat. But yeah, it is true. Your Thanksgiving turkey is literally a dinosaur. We'll be talking about why in a few minutes. Thank you, Tommy Plodicus. Let's see. Steely Dan, hello, hello. And Skedgwen. Welcome to Paleontologizing, Skedgwen. Michael C says, let's bring back the Bone Wars. Oh no. Charlie's Dragon, how are you doing? Textile 3D Picture made a sign in your name. You did? Tactile 3D Picture? Shoot, let's take a look at that. As I'm trying to catch up to the beginning of chat here. In the Discord, let's go to the 3D printing Discord thingamajig. Holy cow, 412 unread notifications. Yowza. 3D printing and crafting. Yeah, nice. Oh, shoot. That's really cool. I might need to do that pterodactylus print there. That's super neat. Scrolling. Diplocaulus, that's super neat. Lugnudo, we've got a 1954 Godzilla. I used to have a plastic model that looked almost exactly like this, except the tail was straight. Very cool, Lugnudo. Very, very cool. Nice. Oh, a 1990s Godzilla. Heisei Godzilla. Oh, that's one of my favorite Godzillas. That's beautiful. Very, very cool. Oh, super neat. Velociraptor egg. Paleontologizing egg of wisdom. Is this what you're talking about? Oh, man. That's so great. I'm touched. I'm touched. What kind of printer did you use for this? This is not a PLA printer, right? What is this? This is brilliant. This is beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Yeah. And Paula Abgul, I remember when you followed, I commented on how wonderful your name was. Welcome back, Paula Abgul. Danny, I'm not too bright. Don't lie to me. Do not lie to me, Paula Abgul. Say you're not too bright. You're here and you're asking great questions. Paula Abgul wants to know, is it true water dinosaurs aren't really dinosaurs? So what you're probably talking about are the Mesozoic marine reptiles. The only, like, water dinosaurs from the Age of Dinosaurs are birds, like Hesperornis, right here. These were, since birds are dinosaurs, these are the only, like, aquatic, ocean-living dinosaurs from the Age of Dinosaurs. We've got a bunch today, too. Critters like penguins and loons and stuff. There's two Hesperornis trying to escape from a polycotylid plesiosaur. This is probably what you're talking about, Paula Abgul. Mesozoic marine reptiles. These critters. Yeah. Ichthyosaurs and mosasaurs and plesiosaurs and marine crocodiles and nothosaurs and placodonts. Not any one of these is a dinosaur. None of these are dinosaurs. Dinosaurs exclusively lived on land, except for a few birds that became marine and took to the seas. These are all from different groups of the reptile family tree outside of dinosaurs. Let me show you. So dinosaurs are a very specific group of reptiles. And let me show you how that works. So dinosaurs begin right here on the family tree. So the way that we classify living things as scientists is by what we call phylogeny. It's genealogy. It's what they're descended from, who their ancestors are. That is what... that's how we classify living things. You know? A platypus is still a mammal, even though it lays eggs and has a duck-like bill. And Magapo85, thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome. And that's because a platypus evolved from a mammal ancestor. If you evolved from this ancestor, you are a dinosaur. Case closed. By definition, you were a dinosaur. That's how this works. So dinosaurs begin here. So everything that comes off of this node right here is a dinosaur. So all of these critters up top, including our bird friends up here, see my cursor dancing, circling around right there? Birds are living dinosaurs because they evolved from a dinosaur ancestor. Through the fossil record, and also with more modern creatures, through DNA analysis, we can actually figure out who is closely related to whom, who evolved from whom, that kind of thing. Who shares DNA with whom. So your marine reptiles, like your plesiosaurs, or your sea turtles, or your marine crocodiles, or your mosasaurs, these are all from different branches of the reptile family tree. And so these are all different kinds of reptiles that we all call marine reptiles, because they're marine. You know, not oorah, not that kind of marine, but they live in the ocean. They're marine. Lived in the ocean, I should say. All of these guys are dead. Dead. The last of these guys died out at the end of the Cretaceous period, at the same time that the non-bird dinosaurs died out. But yeah, does that make sense, Paula Abgul? I hope it does. It was a good question. I'm glad you brought it up, because this is a super, super common misconception among members of the public. So there you go. Yeah. And Astronov says hi, everyone. Hey, Astronov. Oh, sorry, Antronov. Antronov023. Thank you for your greeting there. Welcome, welcome. I saw you followed earlier. It's good to have you here. That's FDM/PLA. Is it really Creatrix Bread? Interesting. PLA Bamboo P1P. Interesting tactile 3D picture. Cool. On a textured plate. Pretty neat. Yeah. And wouldn't Archosauria be a better umbrella term instead of dinosaurs, says Marika? That's the thing, is that these are mostly not archosaurs. The only archosaurs in this picture are as follows. I'm waiting for my annotation software to boot up. Here we go.
Really spectacular, spared no expense.
Tatetoon gifted a tier 1 sub to
Whoa, uh-oh. Where's my cursor? Ah, this is not gonna work today. I gotta reverse it. Gosh darn it. Never mind. Nope, I'm trying to update. Why is this? Oh, goodness, this thing is not working properly. Update, there we go. This poor site UI. What were we talking about? I got all distracted, sorry. My, another thing, I leave for 2 days, and suddenly all these things just don't work. That's really frustrating. Yeah, most of these creatures are not archosaurs. Ichthyosaurs are not archosaurs. Plesiosaurs are not archosaurs. Nothosaurs are not archosaurs. Pachyodonts are definitely not archosaurs. Actually, none of these are archosaurs. No, I take it back. Sorry. There's one archosaur here. It's our marine crocodile right here, Dacosaurus. That's the only archosaur here. The rest of these guys are from more ancient groups of reptiles. Squamates or, I don't even know where ichthyosaurs fit in nowadays. They were a mystery for a really long time. I don't know if we've even figured that out yet. But yeah, so Archosaur is not a panacea for this, unfortunately. Even though that would be nice and easy if we could just say, oh yeah, Archosaurs. But almost none of those guys are Archosaurs. Yeah. I didn't realize ichthyosaurs were bigger than mosasaurs? Yeah, Displacer, ichthyosaurs might have been the biggest creatures, the biggest animals to ever live. Back in the Triassic period. Let's talk about that. Sudden rise of the first colossal animal. Let's take a look at this video here from,
years ago.
Hang on. Let's make some modifications here. Get this optimized for viewing.
Around 250
Here we go.
years ago, at the dawn of the Triassic period, a group of small terrestrial reptiles made a big lifestyle change. After millions of years of living on land, they dipped their limbs into the oceans and started.
And Soak Film says, are blue whales officially not the biggest anymore? We don't know. They are... It depends what you mean by officially, because there's no, like, official governing body. There's no International Commission on the Largest Animals group administered by the UN or anything like that. No such thing exists. And the Guinness Book of World Records probably can't be trusted with this sort of thing either. But Patrick Crusader says, Danny hopes they're not. It's true. I kind of have hope that ichthyosaurs in the distant past actually got bigger than blue whales. We can't say that with 100% certainty yet, but there is a, like, decent chance that ichthyosaurs actually got bigger than blue whales. Which is pretty cool. Let's talk about it.
On a new evolutionary journey. These were the earliest ichthyosaurs, which literally means fish lizards. And their rise was pretty remarkable because while they started out small, with the earliest known species being around a meter or less in length, they wouldn't stay that way for long. Within just a few million years of taking to the water, a blink of an eye in evolutionary time, the group produced a giant, Symbospondylus youngorum, a truly enormous ichthyosaur around the size of a modern sperm whale.
They got really, really big. So, to give you a sense for what these animals were like, before we continue on with this, we're going to go down a little rabbit hole here, go off on a bit of a tangent. There we go. And let's check out Symbospondylus here. Where were we? Talking about Triassic critters. This is from an from a, dare I say, classic documentary, kind of a goofy sort of thing, but it's cool, with Nigel Marven, British naturalist and TV presenter. And, yeah, the premise of this show is that he travels back in time to encounter different creatures in the 7 deadliest seas of life on Earth, in the history of life on Earth. So check this out. He's gonna say hello to a nothosaur right here. Yeah. This is just one of the smaller marine reptiles, and then after a minute you'll see Symbospondylus, one of the biggest of the first ichthyosaurs. The sea scorpion? Yeah, Alex Vixen. I've shown this before. These are nothosaurs. So these guys might be related to things like lizards. They're probably more closely related to plesiosaurs. Although the classification of this group of animals has jumped around so much that I don't know where it is now. I don't work on marine reptiles, so I'm not on the inside when it comes to stuff like this. An electric prod in the water? I was just thinking the same thing, Claire. Yeah. Is this the Loch Ness Monster? No, I'm cool. These are real. We have fossils of these. And hang on a minute, I thought I heard the Ko-Fi sound here. Ko-Fi Streambot. Catatoon, holy moly. What is this right now? Ah, I have to check. Well. Catatoon, private funding for science. Catatoon, thank you. I really do appreciate that. I am not big enough to get government contracts or to do a moon landing or even a Normandy landing, you know? So thank you for the donation there, Catatoon. I really appreciate you. Thank you for your support. Shoot, I didn't want to sound ungrateful when I was talking about that earlier. The whole reason that I'm able to stream here on Twitch is because of private donations. Here's Catatoon, so thank you. Really appreciate that. I really do. Yeah. Beautiful, Catatoon. Thank you. Let's get back to this right here. And let's... Whoop! This could be an alert. Oh, man. Mr. Delight, thank you for the 15 months of support. I really appreciate that, Mr. Delight. That's almost a whole year there, isn't it? A happy Tradoon to you, too. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Delight. Thank you. Aftradoon Delight. Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Delight. I appreciate you. 15 months is a long time. Good stuff. Yeah. Skyrockets in flight, or sea rockets in this case. Let's continue. Wait, did I miss something? Scrolling. Science Stream says, so scary. It's just a nothosaur, Science Streams. Wait till you see the Cymbospondylus, this big old ichthyosaur. Yeah. Oh no, and here comes the Tanystropheus. I forgot about this part. Nigel Marvin causing trouble again. So these are from the Triassic period. And look at what he does. He's just causing trouble. Why are you... Don't harass the wildlife. Yeah, they could only do that once, dude. So we don't actually know if Tanystropheus could do this. But, you know, it's a memorable little sequence to put in a documentary. Fair enough. Yeah. This isn't real, is it? Science Streams. You're a biologist, Balloon. No, it's totally real. Yeah. There we go. This is why we're watching this clip. Yeah. That's Cymbospondylus. This is the critter that we're talking about. This is what this whole rabbit hole is about. Yeah. Going on rabbit holes like you, Balint. Yeah. So, different species of Cymbospondylus got really, really big, like about the size of a sperm whale. They're the first of the really big animals to ever evolve. So this kind of explains the premise of the show. Yeah, like Dunkleosteus. Big old placoderm fish. Anyway, we're not going to get into that because the whole point is to talk about giant ichthyosaurs right now. This is a member of the same genus like you just saw, Cymbospondylus.
evolutionary time, the group produced a giant, Symbospondylus youngorum, a truly enormous ichthyosaur around the size of a modern sperm whale. Its rapid
And thank you, Sammy7642, for the follow. Welcome, welcome.
evolution marked a new era in the oceans, one that continues to this day, an era of giants. See, it isn't just the earliest known giant ichthyosaur, it's the earliest known giant animal, period. As far as we know, no animal, either on land or...
That's its skull, by the way. I feel like they could have captioned that a little bit better. But this is the skull of Symbospondylus youngorum. It is pretty big. That's like a whale-sized animal right there. And it's a reptile. It's a sauropsid animal. It's an ichthyosaur. And this is an adult human woman right here, lying down next to it, just to give you a sense of scale. That's a big honkin' skull. Holy moly.
Or in the oceans had ever gotten so big before. So what drove
they got bigger than this too
to grow to such unprecedented size at breakneck speed? Well, ironically enough, the sudden rise and revolutionary success of the giant ichthyosaurs began with a global ecological catastrophe.
It's true. Yeah. The Permian mass extinction kind of laid the groundwork.
Still pretty mysterious. Most modern analyses place them in the larger group that includes crocodilians, snakes, lizards, birds, and turtles.
Diapsids.
But we're not exactly sure where in that family tree they fit.
I was just saying this, that I don't know exactly where ichthyosaurs belong. And this video came out, how long ago? A year ago. So that's pretty recent information. As far as, you know, a year ago, we still didn't really know where they are. We probably still don't really understand where ichthyosaurs belong in the reptile family tree. Yeah. Yeah. It's sweet, sweet vindication, yeah. And this Birds Day today, that'll be next week, Ariathalium, I think. We could do Friday Birds Day. We'll see. We'll see. Todd in Minnesota says it looks like a dolphin. That's due to convergent evolution, baby. This is a thing that we see again and again and again. In fact, ichthyosaurs are a classic example of convergent evolution. You'll probably see them in some of these diagrams. Zenfail. Thank you.
Had a wonderful Thanksgiving.
I did, Zenfile. I hope you did too. Thank you for the 4 months of support. And welcome back. Yeah. 4 months. Appreciate you, Zenfile. Thank you, thank you. So this is convergent evolution. You can have different groups of animals that have totally different ancestors. Sharks are cartilaginous fishes. Dolphins evolved from hoofed mammals that lived on land. As cetaceans, they are ungulate mammals. They are a type of hoofed mammal, despite having lost their hooves through evolution. Ichthyosaurs are a kind of reptile. They evolved from land-living reptiles that probably looked kind of like lizards. And yet they're all doing similar jobs. They're all swimming through the water. They've got to be streamlined. They've got to be sleek, hydrodynamic, and they've got to be able to catch their prey in the water. And so selective pressure has basically molded them into a similar kind of shape. You've got to be able to cut through the water with great efficiency. You've got to be able to steer. You've got to be able to propel yourself. Ichthyosaurs and sharks propel themselves via horizontal movement of the tail, because that's what their ancestors did. And so they just kind of run with that. Dolphins, on the other hand, despite looking very similar to ichthyosaurs, totally different nuts and bolts underneath. They are moving in the sagittal plane like this. They are going up and down. Vertical undulation of their bodies. That's how dolphins swim. And whales, too. Dolphins are a kind of whale. That's what that's all about. Mammals, ancestrally, move with an up and down motion to their spines. If you ever watch a cheetah run, or a greyhound, or a horse, or whatever, they're not snaking from side to side like a reptile. Their spines move in the sagittal plane, the vertical plane, up and down like that, as they run or as they swim in the case of a dolphin. So yeah. Anyway, and ichthyosaurs and dolphins are both secondarily aquatic. Yes, indeed, Tommy Plodicus. Yes, indeed. Yeah. They evolved from land-living ancestors. The dolphin and the ichthyosaur evolved from ancestors that lived on land. And we can see traces of that in their skeletons. It's plain as day. Yeah. But yeah. Araya Thallium says, by the way, what did you eat/do yesterday, Danny? I went on Wednesday. I drove up by Sacramento to my mom's house. I actually helped her move about a month ago. She moved to a new, smaller house. Should work out better for her. And had a bunch of relatives over. Her sisters came over. My brother came over. My brother's wife came over. My aunt's wife, my other aunt's husband, and we all had Thanksgiving dinner together. It was really nice. And what did I eat? Sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, 2 different kinds of rolls, lumpia that my brother's wife made, really, really good, and what else? A bunch of other stuff too. I forget. Yeah. Basically everything except for the turkey and the stuffing that I think also had turkey in it. Yeah. It's good. It's really good. Yeah, lots of chips and salsa and guacamole and stuff like that too. Yeah. My uncle made me bean burritos. They were really, really good the night before too. I just finished those off for lunch today. It was lovely. Yeah. Anyway, now I'm back here. Had a great Thanksgiving. Yeah. Anyway, scrolling down, let's see. Dinosaur Digestion Day. There you go, Jedi Mega Man, sure. Yeah. And Todd in Minnesota asked a good question. Basically, how do we know that the convergent evolution that, like, what we see here between ichthyosaurs and dolphins and sharks isn't also the same for dinosaurs? It's because the similarities are too numerous and too similar. With convergent evolution, it might look kind of similar on the outside, but the internal stuff will be different. With dinosaurs and birds, it is exactly the same. To the point where we can't even necessarily draw a line between dinosaurs and birds. Like, they just kind of meld together in this, like, really mushy gray area. That's how we can tell that they're actually related to each other, you know? It's like asking if, I don't know, if a red-tailed hawk and a red-shouldered hawk, like, well, you know, one's got a red tail and one's got a red shoulder. Maybe the red-shouldered hawk actually evolved from dragonflies, and the red-tailed hawk evolved from other hawks. It's like, no, they're too similar. There's no chance that they're convergent evolution there. That's basically the situation with dinosaurs and birds. Yeah. They, like, literally all of the features are the same. Literally all of them. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, and did ichthyosaurs lay eggs or give live birth? Paula Abgul? Like a lot of marine reptiles, they gave live birth. Yeah. Check this out. This is from Walking with Dinosaurs from 1999. This is an ichthyosaur. Ophthalmosaurus is kind of an ichthyosaur. Oh, and this was made back in 1999, so that part is now wrong. He said most sea reptiles return to the land to lay eggs. This is no longer. We now know better than this. Most sea reptiles, most marine reptiles actually gave birth to live young. Ichthyosaurs did, Plesiosaurs did. Mosasaurs did. Might even turn out that Nothosaurs did too, but we'll see. And Oriathelium, me too. Yeah. Yep. Yep. This animal would not do well trying to haul itself up onto the beach. Hey, Will62, welcome, welcome. It's good to have you here. Yeah. Oh, and hang on a minute. Kennedy says lumpia is excellent. Yeah, my sister-in-law made it. There's two main types, fresh and lumpia Shanghai. So my sister-in-law is allergic to gluten, and so she made lumpia with, I think with an egg-based wrap, almost like you would use for egg rolls or something like that. So I'm not sure if that would be fresh or lumpia Shanghai, but anyway, it's of, I think it was the, you know, like the, well, lumpia. When I think lumpia, I think Filipino food. But yeah, it was the Filipino variety. And yeah, it was good. And she made me some vegetarian ones too. They were good. Although my brother forgot to bring the tofu, apparently. So they didn't have any, no like protein thing in them. But that's okay. They were still really good. Yeah. Yeah. And Todd in Minnesota says the odds are astronomical. That is rather compelling. Oh yeah, Todd in Minnesota. You bet. Most things in paleontology are like that. Most things that we're really sure of, it's like, bow, cut and dry. There you go. Other things are going to be a bit more loosey-goosey. Like, we don't know where ichthyosaurs belong on the reptile family tree right now. We've got different scientists who are arguing for different relationships for ichthyosaurs. We don't really know yet. It's not a done deal yet. We'll have to see. Yeah. And yeah, Todd in Minnesota, yep, sharks are older than dinosaurs by a significant margin. Yeah. There you go, live birth in ichthyosaurs. Again, I feel like I paused at an inopportune moment there. But here we go. Live birth among these reptiles. There you go. Yep, because they breathe air. Yeah. How do we know this, that ichthyosaurs gave birth to live young? Well, we've got direct proof in the fossils. Let me show you. Right here. Beautiful specimens like this one that actually show a baby ichthyosaur emerging from the birth canal. Right there. Pretty cool. And notice how they're born tail first, so they don't drown on the way out if they take a long time to emerge. Isn't that neat? Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Pretty neat. How do we know which way the small one was going? Garnastuda? Well, there's its head, and there's its tail. You see the eye socket right there? Yeah. Pretty neat. And Todd in Minnesota says, one thing is for sure, sharks are scary. No, sharks are just really cool. I don't know. Did you know, Todd in Minnesota, that more people are killed and eaten by pigs every year in the United States than by sharks? And people don't go around saying, oh, wow, I'm so scared of pigs. More people are killed by vending machines every year than by sharks. Sharks get a really bad rap. They are occasionally they'll, you know, take a bite out of a person, but, like, they're not usually doing that on purpose. It's extraordinarily rare for them to do that. With how many people swim in the ocean every year, you're like, I think 3 times more likely to be killed by lightning than you are by a shark. Yeah. You are much, much more likely to be killed by a vending machine. Here, take a look. Whoop, hang on. Anyway, come on. Here we go. Sorry, these ads are really bugging me. We're gonna try and do this a little better. Oh, come on now. Yeah.
Cola.
Yeah. That's the end of Homer. Anyway, and that was the last Simpsons episode ever, because that's when that's when he died. Dangerous stuff, vending machines, you know?
The most dangerous dinosaur around.
I am doing my part, Paleo salute.
I'm doing my part. Ios. Holy cow, 42 months! Holy cow, Ios. Thank you for your ongoing support of the channel. Thank you, Ios. That's extraordinary. And I've got a new alert just for you. There you go. Yeah, Utahraptor, almost as dangerous as, you know, as vending machines. Far more dangerous than sharks. Yeah, anyway, if any of you are not yet following Ios from twitch.tv/Ios, you're missing out. She does kind of a niche thing here on Twitch. You know, I realized that video games are, you know, people come to Twitch for the science, obviously. But if you're the sort of person who's interested in video games, Ios was playing something called Metroidvania Castlemania, something like that. She was also playing a game called Multi-Bridge? Omni-Bridge? You got it. Thank you, Ios. No notes. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, Paula Abgul says Polybridge. Thank you, Paula Abgul. Yes, that was the one. Go check out Ios. She plays all kinds of video games here on Twitch, and She is a true connoisseur of the medium. And she is extraordinarily knowledgeable about video games without being pretentious about it. And that is... I don't know enough about this to say that that is a true gift, but it probably is. We're going to say that's a true gift. So go check out Ios on twitch.tv/Ios. Go give her a follow. She streams Saturday, Sunday, and Monday nights, starting at 7 p.m. now. She's got a new earlier time for those of us who, like myself, go to bed early and get up early. So go check her out. She's a member of my stream team and one of my favorite people, not only on this planet Earth, but in this grand universe. So I don't know if there's any higher praise that I can give. Go check out Ios right now. I'm not kidding. Go follow her presently. Ios is going, Danny, continue with what you were talking about. All right, Ios, let's do that. We were talking about ichthyosaurs, so let's get back to that, shall we?
If you're feeling a bit cheated, try blaming the dinosaurs.
Thank you, Mechaholic, for those 100 bits. I appreciate that. Yeah. And she is, yeah, she's staff, but don't worry, she's cool, you know? It's not like, oh no, rats, it's the fuzz. No. Ios, she's cool, believe me. She's cool. Don't worry about her. Yeah. And Space Turkey says, I'm a dinosaur. I mean, if you're a turkey, then you are a dinosaur, Space Turkey. Yeah. Yeah. Danny, I'm melting, please. Oh, Ios. Okay, shoot. Let's get back to our video here about ichthyosaurs and how they were the first of the gigantic animals.
But one thing we do know for sure is that when they first invaded the oceans, they were entering a post-apocalyptic world. Just a few million years earlier, around 252 million years ago, the planet had been hit by the biggest mass extinction in its history, the one at the end of the Permian period, often called the Great Dying. It was
bad
by the sudden release of greenhouse gases from massive volcanic eruptions, creating environmental chaos around the world.
Yeah, maybe don't think too hard about how we're kind of doing the exact same thing right now, but we're doing it voluntarily by burning fossil fuels. Like, we're basically repeating the same mechanism that caused the greatest mass extinction in Earth history. Or maybe do think about it so we can stop it. But yeah.
Rising temperatures, ocean acidification, and other rapid global changes led to the loss of around 70% of terrestrial species and up to 96% of marine species by some estimates. But as devastating as the Great Dying was, it reset the planet's ecosystems in a way that mass extinctions often do, wiping the biological slate clean, allowing the survivors to take center stage. And as the planet gradually recovered, ichthyosaurs were able to quickly establish themselves as key players in the new Mesozoic era.
And right there, oh boy, we've stumbled across the creature that I am currently 3D printing. Chat, can you guess what it might be? What am I 3D printing right there? Ooh. Looks pretty roundy round right there. Not a turkey, Pothog. It's an ammonite that I'm printing right now. It'll be another while until it's done. But yeah, an ammonite, like you see right there. Good stuff. This is the ammonite for anybody who might not be familiar. These were marine gastropods. They were cephalopods related to modern octopus. They're not close relatives of the modern nautilus, despite, you know, that shell, not closely related to our modern nautilus. They're closer to, like, squid and octopus.
thanks to their taste in prey. One of the fastest marine groups to bounce back from the Great Dying seems to have been the ammonoids.
Yeah, who I'm printing right now.
They recovered so quickly that within 1 to 2 million years, they were actually more diverse than they'd been before the mass extinction. An ancient group of small eel-like genus vertebrates called conodonts were also common in the waters of the early Triassic. They seem to have been one of the few marine groups to make it through the extinction relatively unscathed.
And I love how they always look constantly surprised. Conodonts, you know, I always shocked in illustrations. Yeah.
And the abundance
hey, Rilla, welcome.
During the planet's initial recovery period.
Pfizer says, looks like my ex-GF, really? Was she easily surprised? Yeah. Oh, color for cuttlefish. Oh, very cool, Adina. That's neat. He hates surprise parties. Yeah, that's why they went extinct, Ariathalium. No. I survived a mass extinction. Yeah, there you go, Alex Vixen. Yeah.
And the abundance of both of these groups during the planet's initial recovery period meant that, for the earliest ichthyosaurs, the open oceans were basically an unattended seafood buffet.
Oh boy.
With lots of potential prey and few surviving competitors. And the fossil record shows that this opportunity was huge for them. Literally. The remains of the gigantic Symbospondylus youngorum date to as little as just 3 million years after the appearance of the first smaller ichthyosaurs. Now, for ichthyosaurs to have evolved to such enormous proportions, 17 to 25 meters long, and
holy cow, that is bigger than most whales right there. Huge. Huge. Astonishing. These are the first truly huge animals. The first stupendously embiggened creatures to have ever lived on our planet Earth are the ichthyosaurs. Huge. Ariathalium, yes. Yeah. And Displacer says, I had no idea. I learned something today. There you go. And Sea Dragon says, Alexander Morrison. Bingo. Yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. It reminds me of this past summer when I got to visit Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park in the great state of Nevada. Where was that? I did a live stream from there. That was a while ago now. Would have been... Yeah. Good stuff. There was a lot of nothing until there was something. I was just trying to get the equipment set up and working out in the middle of nowhere, Nevada. Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park is literally like an hour from anywhere.
Yeah, anyway, here we are. At least for, you know, the... Yeah. Can you see and hear me? Let me know. Okay. Let me get this put on properly.
I was going to say, that's not YouTube misbehaving, but no, it is YouTube misbehaving.
There we are. I have to take this back outside again and see if I can get it to work. I mean, the problem that I was trying
There's the Prius right there.
Excellent. Okay, it's working again. Beautiful. Perfect. Okay, I guess it just needed to be restarted. Well, welcome everybody back to Paleontologizing. And again, we're here at Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park. And the nearest town to here would be what, Gabbs, Nevada? Yeah. This is Jeff Morris here, who is the park supervisor, right?
Correct.
He's very graciously agreed to take us on a little tour today. So cross your fingers that that everything works properly.
We've got the Starlink router and my battery pack right there. Hopefully the signal reaches throughout the whole building. It's like, I don't know, hopefully it just kind of bounces around in here. And yeah. But anyway, good stuff. Everybody's saying hello to you, too. This was a super cool opportunity. I'd never been here before. I'd read about this since I was a little kid. Read about Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park and never had an opportunity to visit until this past summer. Pay a visit. So anyway, a lot of people, when they think of the state of Nevada, they probably think of Las Vegas, they think of casinos, they might even think of Reno. Since I was a little kid, every time I think of Nevada, I think of Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park. Yeah. Because that is one of the biggest fossil sites in the entire state, and probably, at least for the Mesozoic era, probably the most important scientifically for vertebrate fossils. So here's a wonderful taste of that excellent Nevada fossil heritage here. Let's take a look, yeah.
All right, come on.
Yeah. So these are enormous animals, huge ichthyosaurs.
Display case and go over kind of the geologic history of the area, if you will. Just to give you an idea, when these creatures were alive, this was the late Triassic period, roughly 220 million years ago. And this map is a little outdated.
There we
if you
go,
notice,
yeah.
this was when Pangea was still one supercontinent. And this little red dot represents...
Anyway, lots and lots of cool stuff. He's gonna go through that a little bit. Let's look at how big some of these critters are. Let's take a look at some of those bones. Oh, like upside down, those are the lower jaws right there?
Correct, upside down, just like this.
And then you've got the two
flippers.
pectoral flippers like that.
And then right above this flipper bone at the sea, you can see there's a section of rib cage.
Yeah. Ichthyosaurs are her favorite. That's super cool, Adina, yeah.
So there's a cross in the letter D.
Oh, man.
Now you can see there's a separation here by this earthquake fault. That's
Holy
called-
cow, there's a fault running right through the middle of the...
It's called the left lateral.
So this is a fault right here. So like, earthquakes happen on faults. It's like a break in the Earth's crust. It's where one plate meets another plate, and there's literally a fault just running through this quarry. Check it out.
There's a cross in the letter D. Wow. Now you can see there's a separation here by this earthquake fault.
Yeah. Holy cow, there's a fault running right through the middle of the quarry.
There is. It's called the left lateral translation.
Wow.
It's just
Welcome to Nevada. That's amazing.
Finally, here at D, you find the vertebrae, like we just showed you. And you follow that trail of backbone.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that.
Continuing to E all the way up to letter F, it starts the tailbone.
Holy cow, that's a big animal.
And unfortunately, they lost about a third of the tail length due to erosion. But if you were to straighten this creature out, that's what's depicted on our big wall outside.
Right.
50 feet in length.
It's like practically the size of a Greyhound bus or something. That's pretty amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's the taphonomic? I'm sorry, I'm like jumping around a little bit in terms of your tour, but the taphonomic setting for this, like, is this like shallow marine? Is it deep
They think
marine?
it was anywhere from 300 to 600 feet underneath the surface of the ocean.
Holy cow! Wow.
It is the Looning Limestone Formation.
Yeah.
So if you're interested at home, you could do some research on that.
Looning limestone formation.
But they think it was adjacent to a continental shelf, something with deep water, because these were predatory animals and they fed on the giant squid.
Right.
So they think that it was definitely access to deep water, and it was actually down near the equator when Pangea was still one continent.
Very, very cool. Wow. Linnea says, I love the stream, so much fun. It was pretty awesome. It really was. Often as I can, but again, no promises. Such a cool place. Let's take a look, one more look down at those fossils. And then, I love this. We've got like a plaster. I wonder if this was like a maquette or like a miniature that they made before they made the full-size one outside, which is right there. There's the full-size one out by the parking lot. Yeah. Yeah, very, very cool. Check out that ichthyosaur. Amazing. Anyway, here is a link if you'd like to watch this stream in full right there. But this is Shonosaurus. And, this is a truly enormous animal. Just gargantuan. It is, as you might say, highly embiggened. It's pretty large. Shonosaurus. One of the biggest animals to have ever lived. Pretty neat. And it feels like they wouldn't have had high yearly attendance due to remoteness. Yeah. Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park is, it is very remote. It is very remote. Here. There we go. So this is the U.S. state of Nevada. Las Vegas is down here. This is where TwitchCon was, where I had the science panel down in Las Vegas. Here's Reno, which is the other only like. No, Las Vegas basically has two cities. Or excuse me, Nevada has two cities: Las Vegas and Reno. Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park is here in the middle of nowhere. Gab is the closest, but it's not even near like a major highway or anything. You've really got a plan to get there. Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park, remarkable place, remarkable place. If you're ever going through the middle of Nevada, for whatever reason, make sure you stop there. But make sure you check the website first to see that they're open, because I think they're closed for like half the year. Anyway, awesome place, Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park. Really, really cool. And some of those ichthyosaurs got huge. Symbospondylus seems to have been kind of long and skinny, whereas Shonosaurus, on the other hand, was probably very chonky. A highly chonked animal. Very, very large. Like you see here. Yeah. Tell him Danny sent you. There. No, honestly. Yeah. Tell him. If you see, what's his name? Matt? If you see him there, tell him Danny Anduza sent you from Paleontologizing. Yeah. Good stuff. In fact, actually, I wonder if this part made it into the broadcast. I think it did. And there we are. Jeff, thank you, Risudego. Yes, Jeff.
Here, before I wrap this thing up entirely, I wanted to give you this. So that is a 3D printed model of the Crystal Palace Park ichthyosaur. So I don't know if you know the story of the Crystal Palace Park and all that, but in South London.
Oh boy, that. Oh, we lost that? Darn it. We lost that part of the broadcast. The signal was no good. But anyway, see if you can see this. Maybe they'll have this on display when you go visit Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park.
So that is a 3D printed model.
Yeah. Oh man, and he was happy to get that. Oh, I'm touched. But this is it's a big old ichthyosaur model. The Crystal Palace Ichthyosaurus. Yeah. There we go. Just like that. From Crystal Palace Park. And so I gifted that to them there. Maybe it'll still be there. I don't know. That's the big one right there. That's the one. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. And Claire Burr, you found a link. That's beautiful. Yeah. Gorgeous. Lovely. But this is one of the very first reconstructions of an ichthyosaur ever to try and, like educate the public on what these animals were like. So I figured it would be a good thing for them to have there at Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park. Yeah. Anywho. There you go.
Up upwards of 40 metric tons in this case, in such a short period of time is pretty exceptional, and Symbospondylus youngorum wasn't alone. While it was the first known giant ichthyosaur and the first giant animal in general, several other medium and large-sized ichthyosaurs have also been found at the Fossil Hill site in Nevada and elsewhere, dating to around the same time. So it looks like the shift towards large body sizes in ichthyosaurs happened in a sudden early burst. On land, it wouldn't be until the rise of sauropod dinosaurs over 40 million years later that the animal kingdom produced giants that could match the size and mass of Symbospondylus youngorum. In the ocean, no other group of amniotes would get that big until whales appeared. And while some parts of the evolutionary journeys of whales and ichthyosaurs are quite similar, like their terrestrial origins, overall body plans, and eventual gigantic size, that's really where the similarities end. Because as a group, the evolution of large body size in whales didn't happen in a sudden early burst as it did in ichthyosaurs. Instead, it was a slow, gradual increase over a much longer time span. It took nearly 50 million years after first becoming aquatic for whales.
Oh, and this is actually going to have to be revised now due to the discovery of Parusetus, right? Holy cow. We've got gigantic whales from not too long after the Middle Eocene. There we go. Parusetus is like almost as big as a blue whale. It's an enormous, enormous animal, Parusetus. This was just described this summer in like June or July of 2023. And, yeah. Whales become aquatic here, and then the present, they get super big. Took nearly 50 million years after first becoming aquatic for whales to get really big. This is not true anymore. This video came out a year ago. It is already obsolete in that sense, and that's a good thing. This goes to show how quickly paleontology advances. One new fossil discovery, and you can rewrite the history of an entire group like this. So this is no longer true.
Longer time span. It took nearly 50 million years after.
No, it took like 10 million years. It took into the Eocene. This is so cool.
First becoming aquatic for whales as a group to reach the sizes we see today. And
incorrect. I mean, nowadays we've got new fossils of this critter from the Eocene. So let me show you. Let's go to linear time here. So yeah, so the dinosaurs, except for birds, go extinct here 66 million years ago at the end of the Cretaceous period. So that's right there, 66 million years ago right there. It's in the Eocene now. We used to think it was up until the present that, like, sometime in the Quaternary that blue whales evolved, got super huge. But no, we had gigantic whales in the Eocene already. Right here. I know the Eocene is super long, but yeah. Paleocene, Eocene, Oligocene, Miocene, Pliocene, Pleistocene. In the Eocene here, you already had Parusetus in the Middle Eocene. So, is that the Lutetian right there? Something like that? You already had gigantic whales here. So it turns out whales didn't actually take that long to get super big. So this might need to be, this video, I'm sure they'll make a new video about this at some point. And they might even, it'd be really cool if they did a callback. And they said, this is what we used to think about whales, because this is what we understood about the fossil record, but new discoveries have changed all that. Like, they've made this video obsolete. This is the thing, is paleontology is a fast-moving science. Things are changing all the time because we're making new discoveries. It's really cool how that works.
Gradual increase over a much longer.
And there you go, Alexander Morrison. Yeah,
50 million years after first becoming aquatic for whales as a group to reach the sizes we see today. And although at least one genus of early whale, Basilosaurus, did manage to become huge faster than the rest, this outlier still took much longer than the ichthyosaurs to bulk up. More.
It didn't actually. Oh wait. Oh, never mind. Wait, hang on. Nope. I spoke too soon. We should have let the video play for a little longer. But yeah, Basilosaurus is from the Eocene, isn't it? 10 to 14 million years rather than as little as 3 million years. Okay, yeah, shoot. I didn't realize how quickly ichthyosaurs got big. Like 3 million years? That's nothing. Whales took like 10 to 14 million years? Fair. Fair.
This outlier still took much longer than the ichthyosaurs to bulk up.
Okay.
More like 10 to 14 million years rather than as little as 3 million years. So what made the difference? Well, the biggest whales today are the baleen whales, a group that includes the blue whale, fin whale, and humpback whale, for example. These giants seem to have developed their impressive proportions by becoming filter-feeding specialists, eating huge amounts of tiny prey like krill and plankton. They've adapted to modern oceans that are highly productive, even at the very lowest levels of the food chain.
Alright, Thalium says, I wonder how often universities have to change their textbooks because of this. They usually don't, Alright, Thalium. So when I was an undergrad at Montana State University, when we had textbooks for this kind of thing, we used a textbook that I have here somewhere, which I would still recommend. It's out of date in some ways, but everything is out of date in some ways. Paleontology moves too fast for the publishing industry. It moves too fast for physical books. It just does. That book was called Missing Links by Martin, I think was the author's name. There it is. Yeah. Here we go. Robert A. Martin, Missing Links. Evolutionary concepts and transitions through time. This is now out of date. We now know Archaeopteryx had different color feathers than this. But I took this class in... I don't know who that name is. I must have gotten this used. But I took this class in 2011, I think. And copyright 2004. This is already, like, pretty out of date by the time I took this class. But the underlying concepts are largely going to be similar. So, pedestrian whales. There we go. Yeah, there will always be details that are wrong. I'm kind of against the idea that you need to constantly update textbooks and, like, you always need the newest version because it's just too expensive for students, you know? Publish an edition, print a bunch of copies, and let the used book market thrive, you know? You don't always have to have the latest edition. If the professor is worth their salt, then, you know, she can update the lectures and say this is where the book is out of date now. Make it a teaching opportunity. Yeah. Anyway. And so despite the irony, nothing is set in stone for paleontology? No, you're right, Sketchwan. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Things are always changing because we're always coming up with new evidence. The changes are ideas from before. Absolutely. Yeah. And I would go to town when the University of Chicago Press would have their pre-pulp book sale. Ooh, business father, yeah! Holy cow, yes. Oh, boy. Yeah. Anything that didn't sell enough went to a fire sale before getting recycled. That is 1000% my jam, business father. I'd be all over that. Oh. Yeah. And Steely Dan says, I wonder if there's an example of a terrestrial animal that moved to the ocean and then returned to land. Oh, that's a good question. Lots of terrestrial animals have moved to the sea, but have any ever moved back? I don't know, that's usually a one-way street. Usually you move into the ocean, and it's ride or die with the ocean. I can't think of any, actually, no. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. And wait, hang on. Missing Links by Rick Riley, I think? No, Alex Fixon, this is Martin is the last name. Missing Links by Robert A. Martin is the book title here. Robert A. Martin, Missing Links. It's good stuff. It's out of date at this point, but a lot of the information in it is really, really good. I took this in an Earth History and Evolution. No, not Earth. It was Macroevolution and Fossil Record was the class name. It was like Geo 424 or 524 or something like that. I took it as a freshman, actually. So I took this class as a freshman in college, even though it was a graduate level class. But holy cow, did I get a lot out of it. Yeah. It was pretty excellent. I may have been the only undergrad in the class, actually, and I was a freshman at the time. Yeah. And losing limbs makes it hard to regain them? Absolutely, Gimpleg, yeah. Dolo's law of irreversibility and all that. Unless that explains why we can't pinpoint where snakes diverged. Yeah, how old were you then? Ariathalium? Well, if I'm 21 and single now, then how old was I then? 19. Or 18. We'll say 18. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go with that. And are woodlice an example of an animal which came back to land? That's a good question, Special Agent Fox Mulder, FBI. That's a really good question. I don't know. Isopods. This group of creatures that includes modern pillbugs and woodlice and sowbugs and etc. Let's zoom into them. Isopods. Excuse me. And yeah, and it is only true for crustaceans, business father. Yes, everything becomes... It's way overstated. You could say everything become crocodile for archosaurs, and that would probably be truer for archosaurs, at least. But yeah, isopods. These critters. Sea slaters and pillbugs and sowbugs and woodlice. And you've got your giant isopods, which are a member of this group too. I don't think they were originally aquatic, though. I think they were originally terrestrial, and some groups became aquatic, I think. So it's a really good question there, Fox Mulder, but Mulder, I think isopods were originally terrestrial and then went aquatic. So I don't know if... Yeah. Yeah. Crabadillification, there you go, activated complex. We could talk about that next if you really want to. Yeah. So they started on land and then some went to the water. I think that's the idea, Todd, in Minnesota, yeah. For isopods. Yeah. Anyway, we've got to get back to our ichthyosaurs here, and I also have to use the little paleontologist room, so I will be right back. I'll be right back.
Specialists eating huge amounts of tiny prey like krill and plankton. They've adapted to modern oceans that are highly productive, even at the very lowest levels of the food chain. And this high level of productivity also supports some other giant whales further up the food chain, like sperm whales, which specialize in suction feeding on squid in the deep ocean. But we thought that the oceans of the early and middle Triassic were not that productive. So how was there enough energy available in the food chain to sustain a giant like Symbospondylus youngorum? Well, by modeling the flow of energy through the food chain of the Fossil Hill ecosystem, researchers found that the abundance of ammonoids at its base would have provided enough energy to anchor a stable food web. And instead of being a specialist like modern giant whales, the snout and teeth of the first giant ichthyosaur suggest it was more of a generalist predator that fed on a variety of prey. These would have included fish, squid, and smaller marine reptiles, potentially even other ichthyosaurs. With all this potential prey, there would have been plenty of energy in the food chain to fuel its gigantism. And its ability to feed effectively enough to get so huge so fast may have been due to some aspects of its anatomy. For one thing, it had large eyes relative to its body size. These are thought to be a pretty ancient trait of ichthyosaurs, and this probably would have made it a highly capable hunter that could spot and zero in on prey successfully. And while Symbospondylus youngorum was the first giant ichthyosaur, it certainly wasn't the last. The fossil record shows us that by the late Triassic, many other giant ichthyosaurs had appeared. Some might have exceeded 26 meters in length, perhaps even rivaling modern blue whales, the largest known animal to have ever.
This is what we're talking about, is that, I mean, shoot. If these animals lived 200 plus million years ago, and if their fossil remains are fairly rare, and we only have a few examples of them, and some of those seem to be at least as big as a blue whale, or at least rivaling the size of a modern blue whale, as she says here, honestly, what are the odds that there were none that were bigger than blue whales? If we have 1/1000th of total ichthyosaur diversity at the time, and a few scraps show that these animals would have been as big as blue whales, there were almost certainly ones that were bigger than blue whales at the time. That's just, yeah, it's pretty wild to think about, but yeah. Gotta do with that preservation bias, though, says Alexander Morrison. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, though, yeah.
The bone wall is so thin, it's about the same dimension as the wall of a dirter. A dirter
Holy cow.
is those things you get at the end of the paper towels, the cardboard thing in the middle, you go dir in it. Well, that's what this thing is like.
Thank you for the 10 months of support there, Hogan. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for your ongoing support.
Dirter.
Thank you, Hogan. Good stuff. Yeah.
Existed. But just as their rise was kicked off by a mass extinction, it was another mass extinction that would be their downfall. At the peak of their heyday in the last years of the Triassic, another ecological upheaval took place, the Triassic-Jurassic extinction. The causes
I'm not really sure
of this event
what
are still hotly
caused that,
debated, but we can tell that while it wasn't quite as catastrophic as the Great Dying 50 million years earlier, it still devastated life both on land and in the oceans. And it seems that this extinction event acted as a kind of bottleneck that only a handful of ichthyosaur lineages managed to pass through. Those that survived were smaller, and while some did grow to impressive sizes in the early Jurassic, like Temnodontosaurus for example, ichthyosaurs never fully recovered, and they faced competition from new marine predators on the block, like the plesiosaurs that became common in the Jurassic. They managed to persist for another 100 million years or so after the extinction, but eventually they vanished entirely by the late Cretaceous around 95 million years ago. So while they were the trendsetters of ocean gigantism, achieving sizes no other animals had ever approached, and in record...
Did you ever, though, have a moment where it was
Babzilla.
breaking? I'm destroying. Never.
No, glue is cheap.
Babzilla, thank you for the 3 months of support. Really appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. It's good to have you here.
Breaking time, their golden age ended as suddenly as it began.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Here's a link to this video if you'd like to... video ended as quickly as it began. But yeah. Todd in Minnesota says, I just looked up DNA comparison, and it may seem not surprising that humans and chimps share 98.8% of DNA. Yeah. But humans and cats share 90% DNA. Humans and cows, 80% DNA. Yeah. Todd in Minnesota. That's how we can tell who's most closely related to whom in some ways.
Dinosaurs soon occupied every corner of that world.
Amaleth, thank you for the 4 months of support. I do really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. Here, let me show you. Hopefully this will not be super buggy. But this is another kind of rendition of our Tree of Life here. So let's look at cats, for instance. Humans and cats are 21 millionth cousins, 39 million times removed, give or take a few. Our last common ancestor, our 21 millionth great-grandparent, would have been back here about 66 million years ago, around the time that the dinosaurs, except for birds, went extinct. But if you're going to go from humans to, say, cows, then we don't have cows here, so shoot. Let's try another even-toed mammal, pigs. No, cat. Oh, shoot. Pigs and humans. Pigs should be in a pretty... Oh, goodness. There we go. Pigs and gorillas. It's about the same. 21 millionth time. So, yeah, Todd in Minnesota, this is how we can tell who's most closely related to whom. DNA doesn't lie. It shows you who your closest relatives are. Whether it's members of your family or, like, half-siblings you didn't know about. As you've probably heard of this kind of thing with 23andMe and stuff like that. Stories of people finding family members that, like, oh, shoot, my dad had another family or something like that. That kind of story, you know? But it also works in the grand tree of life. So if we're going to go from humans here to, say, cats, it's going to be a shorter jump than from humans to cows. So as mammals, humans and cows are going to share more than 90% of their DNA, I presume. Let's go to cats over here. Genus Felis is right over there. Yeah. There we go. Small cats. But from humans to cows is going to be further away. Genus Bos, I think, is the cow, right? Bos taurus. There we go. That's going to be a further journey than from humans to cats, because we're not as closely related to cows. You know, a little bit further out, you know, we'd be related to critters like deer or hippos or peccaries or llamas, etc., you know? We're all part of this grand tree of life like this, stretching back to the beginnings of life on Earth. And we are related to one another at varying degrees based on where we last had a common ancestor. You know? Yeah. And Todd in Minnesota says, it turns out we share at least 65% of our DNA with virtually all complex life forms on this planet. Yeah, and that's because all life on Earth is related. All of it came from a common ancestor about 3.8 billion years ago. So you're going to share a significant portion of your DNA with critters like bacteria or giant kelp or the common octopus there. And it's because DNA codes for things like making cells. A huge portion of DNA is going to code for, like, very basic stuff, like making a cell. and then making a nucleus. That might be 50% of all DNA is just for those basic steps like that or something. I don't know, I'm guessing here. I'm not a geneticist, I'm a paleontologist. But yeah. Yeah. And Fox Mulder says, I refuse to believe I'm related to my annoying neighbor. Unless your annoying neighbor is... I suppose it's possible for you, Mulder. An alien from another planet who evolved elsewhere, then chances are your neighbor is also a human being, and also a member of Homo sapiens over here. Yeah, chances are both of you look like this, maybe minus the spacesuit. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. You know, some of you might have siblings that you can't stand. And it's not just the same species, you literally have the same parents, you know? So having close relatives doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna get along. Having a recent common ancestor, like we as humans have got a very recent common ancestor with chimps and bonobos. Just 6 million years ago, all of us were basically the same thing. We all had a common ancestor. That common ancestor had a bunch of different descendants. They evolved in different directions: chimps, bonobos, and humans. Yeah. And chimps and bonobos actually share an even more recent common ancestor. Only 1.6 million years ago did they split. Yeah. And Alexander Morrison says, the micro machines, I remember those toys from the 90s, within us that shape us and give us life are utterly astounding. It's true, Alexander Morrison. You meant different micro machines. You didn't mean like, you didn't mean like this.
The Micro Machine Man here, presenting the genuine, original, colossally collectible, most miniature replicas of the real things. Micro Machines. Dramatically detailed, stupendously styled, smaller than a nut, this one or this one. And now with a totally terrific town, the new Micro Machine Super City Toolbox playset. Closed, it's a mild matter toolbox. Open, it's a Micro Machine USA. Cruise your mini Micro Machine vehicles, planes, and boats to the police station, the marina, the mini motorcycle repair shop, the gas station, the construction office, work, the rear working drawbridge, highway, passenger ramp, and garage doors. Or take a Micro Machine flying machine in for a landing. Phew, this place has it all. The new Micro Machine Super City Toolbox.
Yeah, you didn't mean this.
The one and only outrageous original miniatures. Remember, if it doesn't say Micro Machines, it's not the...
I did not speed up that footage. That was original speed there. Anyway. Yeah. Good stuff. There was one micro machine. I had one of these when I was a kid. And it was the submarine base one. There it is there. Holy cow.
Alright, bud.
Yeah, this was, oh man, this was so cool. I think he's added, I didn't have these. These are added on after. But there was like a nuclear submarine that would go back and forth underneath in there, and it was really cool. Yeah, man, this was neat. There's the submarine there. Yeah. Yeah, cool stuff. Anyway, good stuff. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, we were talking about common descent and stuff like that. And so, yeah. When we're looking at dinosaurs and other critters on our tree of life, the fact that... Oh, stuff's falling down on my desk. The fact that birds are dinosaurs is because they share a common ancestor. They evolved from a dinosaurian ancestor. That's why birds are dinosaurs there. Does that make sense? Yeah. Risudego says, those were boy toys, so we could not have. Risudego, that is a shame. I know boy toys are known to have had cooties, but still, that's no reason why children of all different genders shouldn't be able to play with them, you know? Yeah. Not fair. I feel for you, Risa Degu. Yeah. Where was this? Hang on, this is supposed to be time-stamped. What's going on here? Bird segment. I guess I did not timestamp this. Let me see if I can find this. Let's just start it from the beginning, shall we? And then we'll find the bird segment here. But the true story, Jurassic Park. Well. Good stuff, good stuff. Let me give you a link to this video here. Do our diligence there. And, is Jack Horner still working? Yeah, he's still working, Pimpcat. Yep, just this year he's published on a new dinosaur. Platytholus. He's one of the authors on this critter, I believe. Yeah. New Pachycephalosaur, Platytholus. Yep. First author in this. Horner, Goodwin, and Evans, 2023. Platytholus. So yeah, Jack is still doing paleontology. Still a working paleontologist. There you go. And Indo says, honest question, if you're okay answering it in an old documentary, I have Jack Horner tried to remake a dinosaur by editing chicken genes. This is what we're talking about, Indo. This is what we're talking about. It seems to be yielding some really, really cool science. So, I'm all for it. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. And Jack follows me now? Holy cow, I didn't realize that. Follows you. Well. Thanks, Jack. Jack says, after 13 years, the Dino Chicken project has reached a threshold. We know how to initiate teeth, alter the skull shape, transform wingtip to a 3-fingered hand, and produce a bony tail. The next and final step will likely to have an island with a generous, intrepid donor. It'll be really cool once we have some details about this, but this is a very, very exciting announcement here. And I hope it's not overblown. This is incredibly exciting stuff. And I think looking at some of the responses here are going to be illustrative. But first, let's take a look at this TED Talk, maybe. And let's look at it on the old YouTube, shall we? Building a dinosaur from a chicken. There we go. And then we'll get into some of the details here. Your IT team fairly. There you go, Linnea. Yeah.
When I was growing up in Montana, I had two dreams. I wanted to be a paleontologist, a dinosaur paleontologist.
Yep.
And I wanted to have a pet dinosaur. And so that's what I've been striving for all of my life. I was very fortunate early in my career. I was fortunate in finding things. I wasn't very good at reading things. In fact, I don't read much of anything.
Jack's dyslexic.
I am extremely dyslexic, and so reading is the hardest thing I do. But instead, I go out and I find things, and I just pick things up. I basically, practice for finding money on the street. And I wander about the hills, and I have found a few things, and I've been fortunate enough to find things
Sleep well, Emeleth. I'll see you
the first
later.
eggs in the Western Hemisphere, and the first baby dinosaurs in nests, and the first dinosaur embryos, and massive accumulations of bones. And
Pipcat says he kind of reminds me of Larry David or Christopher Lloyd. he's a tall, bald, white guy. I mean, I could see that. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Middle-aged.
First baby dinosaurs in nests. The first dinosaur embryos and massive accumulations of bones. And it happened to be at a time when people were just starting to begin to realize that dinosaurs weren't the big, stupid, green reptiles that people had thought for so many years, and people were starting to get an idea that dinosaurs were special. And so, at that time, I was able to make some interesting hypotheses along with my colleagues. We were able to actually say that dinosaurs, based on the evidence we had, that dinosaurs built nests and lived in colonies.
Yep.
And cared for their young, brought food
lovely
to
art
their
there by
babies,
Douglas Anderson.
and traveled in gigantic herds. So it was pretty interesting stuff. I have gone on to find more things and discover that dinosaurs really were very social. We have found...
yeah, we know a lot of this already. We talk about this all the time. Anyway, Jurassic Park. Here we go. Bringing dinosaurs back to life.
You all know the story, right? I mean, I assume everyone here has seen Jurassic Park. If you want to make a dinosaur, you go out, you find yourself a piece of petrified tree sap.
It's actually resin, not sap.
Known as amber.
Jack
It
knows
has
that.
some blood-sucking insects in it, good ones. And you get your insect and you drill into it and you suck out some DNA, because obviously all insects that suck blood in those days suck dinosaur DNA out. And you take your DNA back to the laboratory and you clone it, and I guess you inject it into maybe an ostrich egg or something like that, and then you wait, and lo and behold, out pops a little baby dinosaur. And everybody's happy about that. And they're happy over and over again. They keep doing it. They just keep making these things, and then the dinosaurs, being social, act out their socialness, and they get together and they conspire. And of course, that's what makes Steven Spielberg's movie, conspiring dinosaurs, chasing people around.
This is what Jack was joking about in the other video.
If you actually had a piece of amber and it had an insect in it, and you drilled into it and you got something out of that insect and you cloned it and you did it over and over and over again, you'd have a room full of mosquitoes, right? Or maybe, and probably a whole bunch of trees as well.
Yeah, DNA from the resin, the tree resin.
I'd say, go to the dinosaur. So that's what we've done.
So yeah, trying to extract DNA from dinosaurs, and anyway.
Sampled some material out of it. And it wasn't DNA. She didn't find DNA. But she did find heme, which is the biological foundation of hemoglobin.
Yep.
And that was really cool. And that was interesting. And that was, here we have 65 million year old heme. Well, we tried and tried, and we couldn't really get anything else out of it. So a few years went by, and then we started the Hell Creek Project. And the Hell Creek Project was this massive undertaking to get as many dinosaurs as we could possibly find, and hopefully...
I was actually involved with the tail end of this, well, starting in 2011. Yeah, this video was 12 years ago. Yeah, it probably was 2011. This is probably before we went out for that last summer. But yeah.
Find some dinosaurs that had more material in them. And out in eastern Montana, there's a lot of space, a lot of badlands.
A lot of dinosaurs. Blah, 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 da, da, da. Good stuff. Yeah. Anyway.
The vessels looked better. Found the protein collagen. I mean, it was wonderful stuff. But it's not dinosaur DNA.
Yeah.
So we have discovered that dinosaur DNA and all DNA just breaks down too fast. We're just not going to be able to do what they did in Jurassic Park. We're not going to be able to make a dinosaur based on a dinosaur. But birds are dinosaurs.
Yep.
Birds are living dinosaurs. We actually classify them as dinosaurs. We now call them non-avian dinosaurs and avian dinosaurs. So the non-avian dinosaurs are the big clunky ones that went extinct. Avian dinosaurs are our modern birds. So we don't have to make a dinosaur. So I already have them.
There you go.
I know you're as bad as the sixth graders, right? The sixth graders look at it and they say, no. You can call it a dinosaur, but look at the velociraptor. The velociraptor is cool. The chicken is not.
Chickens get a bad rap.
So this is our problem, as you can imagine. The chicken is.
And yes, before anybody says anything, I'm aware that this is a different dromaeosaur. This is Sauronitholestes. This is not genus Velociraptor. But, you know, the audience here is not familiar with Sauronitholestes, and Jack wanted a picture of one of his dinosaurs at Museum of the Rockies, so he's going to call this Velociraptor. They're pretty close relatives. Sauronitholestes, I don't actually know if we have a very good skull of it, if it actually looks quite like this. But anyway.
This is our problem.
Keeping his audience focused and on point. Exactly, Retro Roadshow. Unlike me. Sorry. Yeah.
As you can imagine.
Doesn't have to sidetrack Retro Roadshow,
It is a dinosaur. I mean, it really is. I mean, you can't argue with it because we're the classifiers and we've classified it that way.
Again, he's joking here, but yeah.
But the sixth graders demand it. Fix the chicken. So that's what I'm here to tell you about, how we're going to fix a chicken. So we have a number of ways that we actually can fix the chicken. Because evolution works, we actually have some evolutionary tools. We'll call them biological modification tools. We have selection. And we know selection works, right? I mean, we started out with a wolf-like creature, and we end up with a Maltese.
Yep.
I mean, that's definitely genetic modification.
Oh, yeah. Over a long time, and very imprecise.
Funny-looking little dog.
Very sloppy.
We also have transgenesis. Transgenesis is really cool, too. That's where you take a gene out of one animal and stick it in another one. That's how that's how people made glowfish. You take a glow gene out of a coral or a jellyfish, and you stick it in a zebrafish, and they glow. And that's pretty cool. And they obviously make a lot of money off of them. And now they're making glow rabbits and glow all sorts of things. I guess we could make a glow chicken. But I don't think that'll satisfy the sixth graders either. But there's another thing, and there's
here we go.
Atavism activation. And atavism activation is basically an atavism is an ancestral characteristic. Now, you've heard that occasionally children are born with tails, and it's because it's an ancestral characteristic.
Yep.
And so there are a number of atavisms that can happen. Snakes are occasionally born with legs.
And yeah, this is true. Patrick Crusader says the problem is that birds split from non-avian dinosaurs over 150 million years ago. That's a long time. It is a long time, yeah. But snakes lost their legs, 110 million years ago? And snakes are occasionally born with legs. In the grand scheme of things, in the entire history of life on Earth, 150 million years is, it's not nothing, but it's definitely not everything either. So a lot of these same features are still going to be present in some form or another in the genome,
And here's an example. This is a chicken with teeth. A fellow by the name of Matthew Harris at the University of Wisconsin in Madison actually figured out a way to stimulate the gene of teeth, for teeth, and so was able to actually turn the tooth gene on and produce teeth in chickens, which, now that's a good characteristic. We can save that one, all right? We know we can use that. We can make a chicken with teeth. That's getting closer. That's better than a glowing chicken. A friend of mine, a colleague of mine, Dr. Hans Larson at McGill University, is actually...
And we saw him in the video earlier. Remember that? With the chicken embryo with all the blue stained bones in it? You just saw this a few minutes ago.
Looking at atavisms, and he's looking at them by looking at the embryogenesis of birds and actually looking at how they develop. And he's interested in how birds actually lost their tail. He's also interested in the transformation of the...
That could be arranged retro roadshow.
He's looking for those genes as well. And I said, well, you know, if you can find those, I can just reverse them and make what I need to make for the 6th graders. And so he agreed, and so that's what we're looking into. If you look at dinosaur hands, Velociraptor has that cool-looking hand with the claws on it. Archaeopteryx, which is a bird, a primitive bird, still has that very primitive hand. But as you can see, the pigeon or a chicken or anything else, so like a bird, has kind of a weird-looking hand because the hand is a wing. But the cool thing is that if you look in the embryo, as the embryo is developing, the hand actually looks pretty much like the Archaeopteryx hand. It has the 3 fingers, the 3 digits.
Pretty cool.
A gene turns on that actually fuses those together. And so what we're looking for is that gene. We want to stop that gene from turning on, fusing those hands together, so we can get a chicken that hatches out with a 3-fingered hand, like the Archaeopteryx. And the same goes for the tails. Birds have basically rudimentary tails.
A pygostyle is what we call it.
And so
those vertebrae fused together.
In embryo, as the animal is developing, it actually has a relatively
there you go,
long
Shasta
tail.
Daisei, exactly.
But a gene turns on and resorbs the tail.
Ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny.
That's the other gene we're looking for.
To a certain extent.
We want to stop that tail from resorbing. So what we're trying to do, really, is take our chicken, modify it, and make a chickenosaurus.
Or a dino chicken is the term that we use most of the time nowadays, but yeah.
It's a cooler-looking chicken. I mean, but it's just the very basics. So that really is what we're doing. And people always say, well, you know, why do that? Why make this thing?
What good is it? Yeah, it's a question that, you know, that scolds and Grinches and ne'er-do-wells will ask you. And man, there's a lot of cool things that can come out of this. But I think maybe the coolest one is that it's just a wonderful illustration of how evolution works. Of what we can do by understanding the genomes of these animals. We'll learn a tremendous amount from doing stuff like this, and we already have. The scientists who have worked on figuring out these genes and how this works made tremendous insights into the genomes of birds like this, which is going to have all kinds of really cool ramifications that we can't even really understand yet. But I think this is the coolest application is going to be, like Jack will say, and getting people excited about science. Check it out.
What good is it? Well, that's a good question. You know, actually, I think it's a great way to teach kids about evolutionary biology and developmental biology and all sorts of things. And quite frankly, I think if Colonel Sanders was to be careful how he worded it, he could actually advertise an extra piece. Anyway, when our dino chicken hatches, it will be obviously the poster child, or what you might call the poster chick, for technology, entertainment, and design.
That's the acronym for TED Talks. Yeah. There you go. And here is that link. Yeah. Well, the dino chickens have large talons, says Lenina. I mean, they'd be cooler if they did. So yeah. Yeah. And Indo says, I'd say it's, as long as it's not harmful to the animals that gain those features, it's fine to experiment. I agree with you to a certain extent, yeah. Yeah. I mean, when we go back to Jack's tweet from today, he says, after 13 years, the Dino Chicken Project has reached a threshold. We know how to initiate teeth, alter skull shape, transform wingtip to a 3-fingered hand, and produce a bony tail. So I guess there's a breakthrough in this. Yeah. There are some people who go like, is this really an ethical kind of experiment to do? I mean, think of the chickens, you know? Because, well, shoot, chat, as we all know, chickens in our society are precious, precious animals. And no one would ever do anything at all harmful to a chicken. You know? I'm kidding here. I'm being sarcastic. I personally would never do anything to harm a chicken. Shoot, I'm a vegetarian, for crying out loud. Chickens are wonderful, beautiful animals, and that's one of the reasons I don't eat them, is because I care about them and don't want to harm them. But sometimes you have people who think nothing of eating any kinds of various McChicken dishes or whatever, but they want to turn around and scold other people about, like, oh, well, you shouldn't ever run an experiment on a chicken. I'm perfectly willing to, eat chickens that have been horribly tortured in all kinds of industrial facilities, but, like, using a chicken for science, that's a big no-no. It's like, well, let's try and be consistent about this, shall we? If anybody's going to get a little bit squeamish about, running tests on animals, it's me. To the point where I don't ever eat them. But I think taking a few chickens and very respectfully and gratefully acknowledging that these animals are helping contribute to science, doing some cool experiments with them, which will help advance scientific knowledge, help us make really cool discoveries about how the natural world works. I think that's... a noble goal. Is this making any kind of sense? I hope it is. Yeah. And the science chicken would probably have such a good life. I know, right, Venric? Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine how nice the life of one of the first dino chickens would be? As long as it's healthy, which you think about all the chickens that are bred for meat that have all kinds of horrible deformities because of that, and they can barely walk, and they're held in these awful cages. I think of the conditions that this first dino chicken would be kept under. Be luxury, Probably have a better life than I do. Probably a bigger apartment than I live in. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Cool to think about. And, oh, and Happy Nightmares says, Hans Larson was my professor. Very cool, Happy Nightmares. Well, small world. That's really, really neat. Yeah. Hans Larson of McGill University, right? Although maybe he moved later? I don't know. And Charcone says, do we have an image of the dino chicken with the changes he tweeted about? Not this one, no. No, this is still under wraps for now. But really, really cool that Jack is talking about this. Like, I hope this means there will be some news soon. Because this is exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. Yeah. But basically the idea... for what this would look like is, something like this. Yeah. Or this is kind of a goofy one. Yeah. Or maybe it's something kind of like that. Yeah. It's cool stuff. Oh, man, that is a neat piece of art. I like that a lot. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. And he's at McGill. Oh, very cool. Happy Nightmares. Nice, nice. Yeah. And Charcone says, I'm on board with everything but the teeth. I don't want them biting me. Well, maybe don't get too close to them then. But yeah, I love this illustration. This is really neat. I like that a lot. Yeah. But yeah, yeah. Cool stuff. Let's see what some people responded to Jack on here with. Ashley Hall from Museum of the Rockies says, okay, but I want one for outreach at Museum of the Rockies. Cool stuff. Yeah. And if they started with the Hoatzin, they'd already have the fingers earlier in development. I mean, yeah, but Hoatzin are not widely available as laboratory animals. This person's got an idea, but there's a reason we didn't go through with that. But is it morally correct? I want dinosaurs back as much as the next buy, but should we genetically alter an animal just so we can see dinosaurs again? Chickens are already very much genetically altered. I mean, pretty much any animal that's used in agriculture is going to be genetically altered. Yeah, you know? Will these animals live healthily? I mean, it does irk me that people like this are concerned about whether these animals would live a healthy lifestyle when, you know, I really wonder if this person eats chicken, because if they do, they have zero moral standing to be able to complain about this, you know? Yeah. Anyway, this person... Yeah. Look at all those chickens. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. It's good stuff. There's literally 6 movies detailing the problems here. Oh yeah, we all saw movies where chickens attack people? I don't know. Whatever. It's Twitter. But cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Anyway. Yeah. Remember all the dogs that get bred into these pitiful, sick creatures like chihuahuas? Some chihuahuas have happy lives. There was the Taco Bell dog, Das Collective, who all he wanted was some Taco Bell, you know? We all remember the commercials from 1996. Well, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So interesting stuff. The Dino Chicken Project. I'm going to do some sleuthing. See if I can find out any more details about this. But yeah, for right now, I've been streaming for more than 5 hours at this point. It's time to wrap this thing up. I've got to do some more packing for the move in a couple weeks. And I got to get some exercise today too. So, everybody, I will see you tomorrow. Let's go ahead and roll our credits here. And don't go away just yet. We're going to go right into somebody else doing some science or something. Who else is on Twitch right now? Let's have ourselves a look-see here. Science Streams is Science News of the Week, New Species, bonobos, pandas, hummingbirds, and more. And Lita is on. Holy cow, for Science Streams. Let's go see what Balint and Lita are up to. Excellent. You don't want to miss this, everybody. Balint and Lita are both research scientists. They are systems and molecular biologists. And they're talking about some new discoveries, new science news from the past week. So we'll go right into them. Thank you, everybody whose names are shown up here in the chat. I appreciate you more than you know. From those resubscribers to the gifters and the cheerers, the followers and the raiders, the moderators. Thank you, moderators. And even those quiet lurkers, I appreciate you too. Of course I do. We're going to go see what Science Streams is up to. So without further ado, you're not going to want to miss this. Let's go check them out. And I will, I think, be streaming tomorrow. So tune in for that also. I'm going to try and make up for some of my lost days this week because of Thanksgiving. So I hope to see you tomorrow for an early stream here on Paleontologizing. Keep a lookout for that. And everybody, let's go join into Science Streams. I'll see you there. Bye.
Meeting with meteors. And it's only now that scientists are beginning to understand how giant penguins survive on this weird diet.